All right. Here we go. Episode 9, John.
Here we go. Episode 9, man.
You ready for episode 9?
I am.
All right. So we are recording this one a day late.
Yep.
You're going to be hearing this starting on Tuesday as opposed to our Monday.
But it's the 1st of March, man.
But it's the 1st of March. And the reason being is we had a big weekend. So
We did.
Welcome to Diary of an Indie Band. We are, as always, your hosts, and we are the writers of this virtual internet podcast diary. And we are Loops. I'm Kevin Roy. You are?
I'm John.
Just no
Every
last
single
name.
time, man.
Every time.
Every
I'm
time.
just John.
It's going to be an ongoing joke
It's a
forever.
real thing.
But you have to listen to
forever.
episode 9.
You'll be like,
Yeah.
to get it, to understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Roy and just John.
Just John. We'll make that as a t-shirt. Just John. So welcome to the pod. This is going to be a bit of a recap this week on how the album release party went. As most of you know, our loyal listeners, we had our debut album drop on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel about it, John?
I was stoked to finally have it like out there. So we've had the masters back for the last few months, and we've been waiting to get it done properly. And we wanted to have like a proper party for it. We were originally going to be doing it up at Sun Peaks
In January.
and then
COVID. Yeah.
didn't just happen, but I mean restrictions came into place and all this kind of other stuff that goes along with it. So we wanted to make sure that we could celebrate it with people. So I was super stoked that we had tons of people there who we wanted to have there.
Yeah, we really did. And also as well, just as important, I mean, we had important people to us. Right? Like, my family flew out from Ontario, my sister,
Which
my
is
nephew.
one of the reasons why we're doing it a day late as well.
That's 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably the main reason. Yeah. So my sister and my nephew, Dylan, they were both out here. And my mom came out as well. So, and she's still here, but my sister and nephew left this morning. So,
yeah. So you've been up since what, 3?
Yeah, it was pretty early, man. I got up around 3-ish and drove them to the airport.
Yeah.
My sister wanted to get there super early to make sure she wasn't late. I'm like, this is Kamloops. Your flight's at 6 o'clock.
And
You don't
there's
have to
2
be there.
terminals.
Yeah, you don't have to be there that early. But she was diligent and careful. And so long story short, they were here yesterday, and we were both pretty spent after a really energetic, kind of important weekend. So we just took an extra day to ourselves, and here we are, hitting the podcast hard and getting March started out with a bang.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, that being said, I mean, kind of tying into the week in review here, this past week has been absolutely bonkers, man. Like, it's been absolutely one thing after another, trying to get stuff done. Things went pretty well, I would say, for the album release party. Not every single thing that we wanted to have done ended up coming together. Like, the lighting wasn't exactly like how we originally like planned it out and like whatever else, but you know, just like small things like that we had in the back of our mind when we wanted to do this just didn't quite pan out exactly how it is. But you know what, that's fine, because that's kind of like our album too. It's like, you know, we are super proud of the work that we did on it and all this kind of stuff, but as a musician, you can always look back and say, oh man, I wish that I could have fixed that one thing or something like that, right? There's always room for improvement.
Absolutely. And but I mean, I think at the end of the day, the important thing was that we got to have a moment where we got to celebrate the album. We played all 11 songs in order, like we always said was going to be our goal. I can't stress enough how much we truly picked the perfect person to host it for us. Jeremy was just the ultimate gentleman, like he always is, but the things he was saying, and he was very genuine in his delivery, and you can tell he was really honored that we picked him and asked him to be a part of the evening. Yeah, he put on a show. All my family loved him; they adored him. They were so excited to get him to sign their CDs and stuff. And and he's just a good dude. Like, he was so happy to be a part of that.
100%.
The more best way to phrase it, it's like, it's not, we pride ourselves in never kind of having conflict with anybody, but the more you kind of entrench yourself in the business and you really make it like your entire life, the more that you're going to come across people that just, even if they were, you know, awesome at the beginning, they're going to rub you the wrong way, or you find that your goals aren't aligned with theirs. And it's okay. That's okay. Everybody doesn't have to all be on the same, you know, bandwagon. They don't all have to be on the same goals aligned, right? We've always said we're going to carry ourselves with class. We're not all about, you know, petty little rivalries or having issues or conflicts with people. That being said, it is refreshing when you find someone like Jeremy who's just genuine, and he doesn't say he's genuine. He doesn't say he's got your best interests at heart. He doesn't act like he's your friend and wants to give you good advice and look out for you, but really, he's got other ulterior motives. He straight up is just a genuine good guy.
100%.
Like he really is.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I would take one Jeremy having a relationship we've been building with him as our friend and our ally and someone that wants to play it, our opening, our album release over 100 of other people that are just kind of fair weather friends in this industry. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm proud we found that relationship.
Yeah. And I can't agree more. Like that is definitely one of the biggest things that like we've learned along the way, and moving forward is something that we always keep in our arsenal. We got to always remember that we've got those great relationships like Jeremy,
like Doug.
Exactly. Like Doug, right? Like Pete down on the island. Like you're just building your team just like one piece by one piece, right? And even if he's not necessarily like Jeremy, if Jeremy's not necessarily like a piece that we're always with or something like that, it's something nice to have in your back pocket if you need it.
You're allies, right? And
absolutely.
People are going to have different levels. They're going to be different variations of a circle and a bubble around you. Right? And if Doug is in our inner circle bubble, someone that we trust so much, will take any advice.
Yeah.
The one person truly that if he told us he sees a red flag in something, that we would actually take that as gospel and we would do whatever he says. He's that guy, right? He's the guy that we listen to. We follow his judgment. We follow his advice and we do what he says to do. And you don't have very many of those people. You don't need very many of those people. But not everyone has to be in that inner circle. They can be a Pete or a Jeremy who we're proud to be friends with. We'll play any show. If Jeremy asks us tomorrow, hey guys, could you do this show for me?
Yeah.
Honestly, he could be like, I can't pay anything. It's a benefit concert, whatever, da.
Right.
We'd be like, sure, man. Like if you need our help, like we're there for you, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can't do that for everybody. There's certain people we would, and in a heartbeat. I know Jeremy's one of those people. Pete's one of those people. We have a bunch of others, but like it's nice to have people at that level. And Jeremy, I wanted to just say it's important for me to kind of acknowledge that, like, how lucky I think we are to have found someone like that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah. So Jeremy, if you're listening, we appreciate every single thing that he did for us over the last few weeks, helped promote the show and all this kind of other stuff as well. Ties into Saturday. Saturday, we had arguably just as good of a night as our album release party because it was our first time playing a ticketed event. Well, we played once on the island, but it was our first ticketed event that we had played in Kelowna.
Yes.
And it was packed, as you probably saw on our Instagram. I hope that you guys follow us on Instagram.
If you don't, official_loops.
Absolutely. But it was absolutely packed. And we are stoked to go back there. It was a great night. I don't know what else to say about that. It was out at Lakesider Brewing.
There it was, yeah.
Yeah, in Kelowna.
It was incredible. Like I got a video at the start as we were just finishing setting up and you were doing sound check, and the show hadn't even started yet, and it was line up outside.
It was, yeah.
8-9 people deep. There was people getting turned away inside. Literally, like a table had to leave because there was rezos, and once the show was starting, their tables were reserved.
Yeah.
And some people left during the show and more people came, and there was a few different points, at least 2 that I can think of off the top of my head in the 2.5 hour show that were lined up out. There were people lined up outside still during the show, just kind of waiting for a table to be free.
Exactly.
And it was very clearly advertised, like, oh man, I can't speak highly enough about them, especially because it was our first time playing there, but Lakesider Brewery, they were awesome. Like they had hyped us up and promoted us all week.
Oh yeah.
I even felt, honestly, John, I felt a little guilty because I like to give 100% to anybody. Like I always feel like, hey, if you're going to take someone's money, you give them an honest effort. Right. Yep. And I feel like we always give an honest effort with everything, but we were so focused on, and I think they totally probably even,
yeah, exactly.
They would totally get it because they knew Friday was our album release. So we put every ounce of effort into the album release party and promoting it accordingly. We didn't put as much promotion as we normally would do even for, so we didn't even promote. That was just them promoting, saying, hey, Loops is coming. They're an awesome band.
We had a couple like stories and stuff like that throughout the week, right? Just helping get the word out there if there's anybody out in Kelowna.
But they definitely did the heavy lifting. And I respect it and appreciate it. And it was pretty cool. It was pretty validating knowing that, hey, 2 years ago when we started this, over 2 years ago now, clearly, but let's just even back up 2 years when we were playing shows. People didn't know what Loops was, let alone who we were, what we were about, anything.
Yep.
Well, we're no different now in Kelowna than we are 2 years ago in Kamloops. The difference is the people that don't know who Loops are, now they can go and check our website. Now they can go and check Spotify and see our entire album. And that was pretty cool, having those things that we've worked really hard to build and validate ourselves in the background. So you can have a bunch of people eagerly anticipating this band they've never heard about. But now they're like, whoa, I checked out their video, like their stuff. I checked out their content, their social media. I checked out their songs. Like, these guys are wicked. I can't wait to see them.
Yeah.
We moved some merch, gave away some CDs. That was super fun. And the crowd, I don't know if we've had a crowd that was hotter.
Yeah.
Like,
it was
fired
a
up.
cool night. I mean, like, I don't know how much we've actually discussed on the podcast, because sometimes these conversations just end up all melding together in what we say off the air and
Absolutely.
what we don't, right?
It's hard to remember if it was a podcast conversation from 6 weeks ago or if it was us just talking in the kitchen like we always do.
Exactly. But it was like not like necessarily like a high energy night or like one of the hardest working gigs that we've had to play, because I think that we've talked about like some of those before in the past.
Oh, yeah.
But this one was just like a nice, like almost like what you said maybe a few weeks ago, where it's like the reward was just as good, right?
Yeah.
What you put into it.
It to me, it felt effortless. And I was actually worried because I was really tired after the show on Friday. Family was in town. Gave it all out there on the stage emotionally in that show on Friday, if not energy. Like, there was a lot of mental exertion. And I was worried that maybe I wouldn't have 100% for me. I even told you, I was like, hopefully you can help do some of the heavy lifting on this show. But when the crowd's like that, man,
And then I'm like, nope.
Yeah. Nope,
Yeah, exactly.
You got this. But yeah, they were just that crowd when you get them in early. And that's where I always say, you know, you've said so many times, like, I'm the heart of the band, like, you're the brain of the band. And the brain did the lifting, because like you knew, like, when you felt the crowd, you're like, this is the order we're going to kind of play the songs tonight. And you're so good with that. Like, you're so malleable and you change things up on the fly. And that was a perfect example of how well that works.
Yeah. And I think that a good portion of that too is like just bouncing off of each other, though. Like, just, you know, I appreciate that, of course, but I mean, there were times when you're like, man, maybe we should be playing an original right now, which we also had people at the end of the night come up and say, your originals were my favorite part of the night.
Yeah.
It's like, cool, because I know that a lot of people really like the other stuff too.
But I think to your point, like, and I kind of feel where you're going, like, yeah, they loved the covers, but the covers were the right. So here's the thing, that place, they draw a decent crowd consistent. There was a lot of people that knew of Loops. They're like, oh yeah, we heard Loops is coming tonight. Oh, you're Loops. Yeah, we heard about you guys.
Yeah.
Like, they would say that as we're setting up.
Yep.
So they were anticipating Loops, but they also there was a lot of chatter at the start of that show. Like, a lot. Like, everybody was having their conversations.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm like? Like, I'll get a twinkle in my eye, and I'm like, I will win over this.
Yeah, exactly.
freaking room, man. Like, I stubbornly. Then I'm like, oh, that you guys just woke me up.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If I was in a funk, or if I was tired from yesterday, and I was gonna, if I never would, but if I was gonna quote unquote like phone in a show, that would be the closest to it. It's just, I'm just gonna give you my best I can right now, but that's right. But I was like, oh no. Like,
no, it's just like, throw the challenge out there, and then you're gonna run with it.
And that to me was like, I want everybody in this room paying attention to us, not their little conversations. And like, that's just how I felt in the moment. And I love that. I think it's awesome. It's exciting.
Yeah, win the room.
Yeah, and you had it right though, right? I mean, there's a time and place for originals. We need to get them excited about us, hanging on every word. Then you bust out the originals, and then they're like, well, they're so caught up in what you're doing, and they're like, holy shit, that's an original. And like, then,
exactly, right.
And to that point as well, at the end, I was like, you know what? Let's hit them with back-to-back originals at the end. And you trusted me, no different than I trusted you, because early I did want to hit some originals. So like, we got a big crowd. Let's just promote ourselves and get our music out there. Yeah. And you're like, we will. But we gotta let's get them. We gotta hook them first. Let's hook them before we reel them in. Let's hook them before we reel them in. Right.
Gotta throw the line into the.
And we fed off the crowd. We read it though. We're like, hey, okay, this crowd isn't much of a country crowd right now. So we condensed a little mini country set, and we're like, but they want that 90s stuff. So let's hit them with some heavier early 90s stuff, right? Like, we read the crowd perfect. You especially. And then, but once we had them at the end, it was like, you know what, we got them in the palm of our hands. Let's hit them with a couple originals. And like, we did multiple throughout the show, but let's finish. We finished with back-to-back originals. Yeah. And they were, by that point, it was so perfect. It was played really well. I'm really proud of both of us and how that went out.
Yeah. I mean, just the weekend was exhausting. It was like an exhausting, hardworking weekend. I mean, both nights obviously ended up into being super late nights and like whatever else. But I think that it really paid off, and we're super stoked to have the album out there.
Oh yeah.
It's been such a long time coming that we're just like, finally.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, and shout out, by the way, before we finish this thought though, on the note of Lakeside Brewery, we've dealt with a lot of different locations and venues. It was make sure correct me if I get the names wrong. It was Gail and Kieran.
Yep.
Okay, they were fantastic. The owners there,
awesome.
Like, honestly, like on a short list of all the dozens and dozens of venues we've played now, they were on a short list of like my absolute favorites. They were so genuine. They were pumped up. They loved our stuff.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't just because they liked us that we liked them, but that helps.
Yeah, well, of course. But they were working with us like to get everything like sorted out. Like, like they were very accommodating to us. But like everything that we were asking.
Yeah, you're right. 100% actually. That's a really great point. And not just accommodating like, okay, what do you guys want to say? They were just like, okay, we have a packed place. We want this place to be packed for the sake of you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It benefits everybody.
Exactly, right? You want to take out a table and now 6 people can't sit there because that's where your merch is.
But they knew they knew we wanted to be able to move merch.
Yep.
That's part of our income, and we have awesome merch. We want to move it. They knew we wanted to have our full setup, so we worked together, which was really cool. Because a lot of times it's either sure, do whatever you're gonna do, we don't care.
We're paying you, or
this is the way it is. Too bad. Work around our structure, right?
Yeah.
To find a kind of, and I was stoked. I was like, hey, we'll happily come back. Like, when can we get back here again? Like this was fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's a relationship we'll definitely foster more. I really like those two. They were pretty wicked. So
yeah.
Gail and Karen, if you're listening to this, thanks a lot. We appreciate that opportunity. That was a lot of fun. We hope you saw the best of us, and we'll give you that again next time. So
yeah. Cool. Well, that being said, I mean, we've done a couple different things over the last few weeks where we had Jeremy on, and then that was a long episode. And then, last week was obviously hyping up the album, and we were just trying to get as much information out there as possible about the music and about the songs.
Yeah.
But we're going to get back into the groove of things, right? Where we're trying to promote other musicians.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's most of the reason why we're doing this, right? If we were in that position, then we would be stoked to have somebody play our song on their podcast or add it to their playlist or whatever it is.
And maybe we gain one more person to know about us that didn't know about us before.
Exactly.
That's worth it, right?
So with that being said, I would love to get into new music.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to talk about new music, why we're picking these artists and all this kind of stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that being said, why don't you kick it off, Kev?
All right. So the new music song I wanted to do is it's actually ties in perfectly. A little bit of a segue earlier, but when we're talking about allies and people that we're building relationships with, in this podcast alone, we've had a bunch of different artists that we've mentioned in our music. Some of them were just, hey, yeah, we'll give you our consent to play our song. Thanks. Everyone was always polite. Thanks. Yeah. I appreciate that. And that's the end of it. Honestly, a couple of them didn't even bother even following our Instagram page. Hey, more power to you. You don't have to. That's okay. That's not the intent of what we're doing.
No.
But we're also indie artists. We're also trying to get ourselves out there. We're never facetious about this. We're never lying. We're never being fake. Like, we're honest. We're like, hey, if this helps promote us and get us out there, and we can, like I've said how many times have I said that saying? Many hands make light work, and a rising tide lifts all ships.
That's
right?
the one. At least once an episode, dude.
Exactly. Right. And it's true though. And that's our intention, is that we all benefit. We're not trying to help everyone else like we're some kind of martyrs or saviors, but we're also not just looking out for ourselves. We can all help each other.
Yep.
So while we're not offended if somebody doesn't follow us back, or they just are like, yeah, sure. And maybe they even give a tiny shout out on their story, but that's the extent of it. When people like Evil Tongues actually put posts up a week after the podcast app that they were in, and just an actual post on their page being like, oh, by the way, if you haven't checked out Diary of an Indie Band, these guys are great. They promoted our song. They're good dudes.
Yeah.
We also don't forget that. On that note, one of the other artists that you had mentioned on an early app, I think it was episode 1 or 2, or it was one of the early ones, was a BC artist named Jonathan Williams.
Ah, yeah.
So there's a point that I was getting to.
There
here.
we go. I'm like, you're getting somewhere with this, dude.
Somewhere,
yeah.
Man. Classic Kevin, right?
Yeah.
And but yeah, Jonathan it struck me in such a positive way that he was so humbled that we put him on the podcast, and he's awesome, man. He's super talented. He's doing it all on his own too.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm really proud to have met you guys and be music friends with you, and cool. And I want to kind of let me know, and to that note, the reason why I'm picking Jonathan now today is we were so caught up in just the story, like the whirlwind of our whole weekend.
Yeah.
we didn't even bother reaching out to anyone we knew in Kelowna saying, hey, come on out, check out our show.
Oh, no.
Like we were just like, hey, we're going to go out. We're going to play the show. We're going
Yeah.
to give our best effort. Absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
But we knew that it was promoted pretty well already and that it was going to be busy regardless. So we didn't want anyone showing up and getting turned away or whatever at the door, right? But we didn't even mention to Jonathan, who lives in that area, and he shot us a message being like, hey guys, I saw you played Kelowna.
Right.
I can't believe I missed it. Next time, let me know when you're coming. I'll be at your show.
That's cool.
That's the kind of person that I will go the extra mile for. I really will. And on that note, Jonathan has a new song he brought out with another artist. I'm not familiar with him, I'll be honest, but Rhino Dino. I love his voice on this song. It's awesome.
Cool.
Jonathan's he's great. And this is a new song. It's a little bit different than his first one, which you had picked before.
Yeah.
But this one's called You Are the One for Me. I think it's super cool. It's super fun. You guys are going to love the vibe. And
Nice.
that's my choice for this week.
All right, let's play a clip.
Here I am again to face another day. Gotta move on and let that old past fade away. Give and forget is what I've learned down this road of broken hearts like mine that's grown a little cold. I was convinced I was gonna die alone, but that's when I met you. You were oh so beautiful. When I passed by you, I caught you looking at me. Could this be true? Love at first sight. Is this the one who can make my life right? I need you to say I love you, I love you, I love you to me every day. Oh, I only want you, and I will stay with you. Where else would I be anyway? Believing that I say you are the one for me.
That's pretty awesome.
Right?
Yeah, it's different than his other one, hey?
It's way different. And
Yeah.
I love the diversity. I love that he's able to just kind of make whatever music he's feeling
Yeah.
inspired by, man. It's super
Yeah.
cool. And it's so commercial sounding. And I think he's doing an awesome job. And
He really is.
yeah, like I said, he's an ally. He's someone that our interests are aligned.
Yeah.
And he's someone I want to go to bat for. I'm proud and happy, Jonathan, to hype up your song because John got to mention you
Nice.
the first time. and
Yeah,
now
exactly, right?
I definitely
You're
wanted
just
to.
trying to take him away.
I wanted to steal the
You're
thunder.
like, hey, man, we can connect over some stuff.
Yeah, right. We got some things in common, and
Yeah.
former police and stuff, and
Yeah.
like he's cool, dude. So I'm. This is now both Loops members have now mentioned you as new music. So Here you
Absolutely.
go. So check out Jonathan Williams. I don't think I have his handle.
You know what? I was just about to look that up because I'm pretty sure it's Jonathan Williams music, but I'm going to
Yes.
double check.
I'm almost positive, but John's gonna give it to you 1 second here, guys.
Jonathan Official Music, all one word, all lowercase.
Perfect.
Jonathan is spelled exactly like my name, Jonathan.
I wonder if he spells it
Jonathan
Jon.
Williams.
He says-
My name is Jonathan Fennel. So
Ooh,
yeah, that's
nice.
my full name, but I go by John. So yeah, JONATHAN, and then Official Music,
There we
all
go.
one word.
So check him out. Shoot him a follow, please. If you found him through us, tell him Loop said hi. You heard about him on the Diary of an Indie Band.
Go listen to his stuff on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you get your music these days.
Absolutely. So Jay, what's your pick for me this week?
Yeah.
What do you
So
got?
I'm super stoked. So my artist this week is a artist from the Lower Mainland here in BC. So in the Vancouver area, named Ger Carriere,
Well, nice.
I think.
Yeah.
or Ger Carriere.
Carriere.
Yeah, something like that. Her song is Dangerous. I believe that it came out earlier this year.
Okay.
I don't have an exact date. I think it was in February though. From what I saw, found it through like a Facebook group that I'm a part of and all that
Nice.
kind of stuff. And
So she's an indie too. She's self-promoting.
yeah, 100%.
Love
Yeah,
that. Love that.
I'll actually just double check on her. Yeah. So yeah, she's doing lots of stuff, and what I could see on her Instagram and whatnot was she's been recording for years and years and years. So this one is one of her most popular songs, and it's called Dangerous, and we're going to play a little bit of
And
a
make sure
clip.
you follow her, guys. Shoot her a follow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we want to make sure we're there promoting her and give her a follow and help her out as well too.
You are the one that tastes sweet like honey on my tongue.
Yeah, you got me really intrigued. Actually, I'm gonna listen to a lot more of her stuff. I really actually am.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was able to like get through like a few of her songs before I got busy and tied up with other stuff. But yeah, like I like her vibe, and I mean, like it sounds poppy. It sounds like early to late 2000s kind of like poppy vibe is kind of what I was getting from her.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. It feels like it's a fun kind of dance club track, and I like the tone of her voice.
Yeah,
I like her lower register too. Actually, it was nice on a couple of those spots too. So
yeah, and the falsetto was nice too. It's just like the range.
Yeah, she's
is
good.
there, right?
She's really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I'm definitely gonna look her up. What's her socials? I want to.
Yeah, so you can find her on Instagram. Ger, it's Ger, and then Carriere, Carriere, all one word.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Pretty awesome. So yeah, give our two new music choices a follow.
Yeah, and throwing it back, we haven't really asked this in the last couple of weeks just because we were so focused. We had Jeremy, and then we were promoting the actual album release itself, and we talked about our stuff. But now that we're back in the groove and we're trying to represent other artists with this, shoot us an email, dib@officialloops.com.
Send your music our way.
And if you're listening to this and you have other friends or other people that you think we should be playing their song, let us know.
Or whatever song. If there's like a cool new song that's out there, send it our way. We might not play it, but send it our way because
wanna hear it.
We like hearing new music, man. That's what we do.
Absolutely. And at the very least, I mean, if we have a few we're picking between, but we're like one of our listeners is like, hey, I want to request, can you play this song this week? Sure. Fuck yeah. Well, why not? Right? Yeah. This podcast is for you guys that are listening as much as it's for us. So.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right.
Absolutely.
That was fun, man. I think that, and as always on the Instagram post as well, we'll put the links to the people that we've mentioned in this episode. We're going to also put like some of the shout outs as well, like Lakesider Brewery. We'll put them up there too. So if you're in West Kelowna, go check them out. Tell them John and Kevin from Loop sent you.
Absolutely.
Tell them we said hi.
Yeah.
And same thing with the artists. If you reach out to them and shoot them a follow, shoot them a message or comment on their most recent post. Say, hey, Loop sent me.
Yep.
Like literally, I'm asking you guys if you do that, and I think it would be awesome, and it would put a smile on their face knowing that they got some new followers from a different source.
Absolutely, it does.
Sweet. All right, I think that brings us now to our top fives, buddy.
Top fives. Yeah, feels weird doing like top fives, doing like a properly structured show again.
Yeah,
it just feels like it's been so long since we've done that.
Been a few weeks, right?
So yeah, this week we are going to be chatting about golf stuff because golf is right around the corner.
Yeah, you just started getting a few hours again. It's not like it was last year where you were working full time because of the pandemic and stuff. But you're picking up a couple shifts right now. Well, you can obviously until scheduling and our tours and stuff like that over the summer. Our coast to coast tours, we're calling it.
Yep.
Until that kind of gets in the way and cuts back some of what you can do, but. In the interim, you started picking up some shifts. The golf season's happening. Spring's right around the corner.
Yeah.
We're both getting that golf itch. So
much, man. We were lucky to go to Breaking Par Golf earlier in January.
Yeah, we went a couple times, yeah.
I haven't been there in like a month or like whatever it's been now. And I'm like, dude, it's too long.
Well, and as we've discussed on this exact pod, like, I don't do good in those simulators as well. Like it just, I don't know what it is, but I like just the grass under my feet and I hit some amazing shots when I'm on a real
fresh air, man, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just something a little different about it. And I don't know if it's just the pacing too. Me being able to get up right away and hit another shot 10 seconds later. Like there's something about good shots or bad shots, like having a little bit of time in between shot to shot.
Oh,
there's something I like about that pace.
Because you feel like you're the pace is like too fast.
It's almost too quick.
Oh, yeah, it's almost okay. At the golf the golf simulator. Yeah. Okay, I get what you mean.
I like being able to, if I have a bad one,
chunk a shot and then you got to walk 10 seconds your ball and then you hit another shot.
Fine. In real life, that does happen sometimes. Yes.
I'm like, that's what you do for an hour, and that's too fast paced for you.
That's too fast paced.
We get 3 holes done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in real life, like I would, I mean, sometimes I can have a horrible hole, but I have some time to kind of digest it and move on to the next hole. So I don't know. There's something about real life that I like. Yeah. I enjoy playing on real grass and real course. So we, this week we're going to do our top 5 favorite golf moments that we've experienced.
Yes.
Of real golf.
Like personally, that we've
personal.
Like done.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Exactly. So unfortunately, Tiger, you're not in this week's podcast.
Oh.
We're sorry.
But is he?
Well, he's not in mine.
He might. There might be a little teaser. He might actually be involved in mine.
Well, if you were gonna say that you chatted with Tiger Woods about golf one day,
Is that bigger or less than me being best buds with you for almost 3 years, bandmates for 2 years, and finding out that you would climb multiple mountains on planet Earth that are among the largest mountains that exist?
I think that it would be cooler to play golf with Tiger Woods
And not have mentioned it?
Yeah,
Fine. But it was
just
shocking.
having a conversation about golf.
It
with
was
Tiger Woods.
shocking finding out in the summer that you had like scaled mountains and you were
Yeah.
going to be the youngest person in Saskatchewan to climb Everest.
God, Saskatchewan. What the hell are you talking about?
Oh no, sorry, Winnipeg. Manitoba.
That was Canada.
It was Canada.
It would have been Canada.
Oh my God, that's even more impressive.
It's a story for another day, though.
It definitely we definitely planted that seed. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that on another podcast for sure, to be honest.
But today we're chatting about golf.
All right. How about you go first? You came up with this idea.
Sweet.
This was your topic.
Yeah.
So you give me your top 5.
Yeah. So one of them is actually one that we discussed on the last podcast, which was our checking out day in the studio, is on my top 5 list because we ended up playing a great round of golf over at Crown Isle Golf Resort where we were staying while we were recording our album.
Beautiful place.
And it's such an amazing course. So much fun playing it. The first time that we played it, we shot personal best personally, where I took like 4 strokes off of my like personal best score that I had shot before. And then the second time that I played it was on this checking out day where Kev was rocking it in the studio and having the time of his life. And, you know, even though he might have thought that it was hell, like in the studio or like whatever it was, really, really, really paid off. And then
it was the next
morning.
So within the
right?
24, we say every time we say checking out day, just so everyone's clear, we both mean it's a 24-hour window.
It's from like that 2 p.m. or whatever to like the 2 p.m. of the next day.
Yeah.
Or
I think it was like
or
6
whatever.
p.m. Yeah. And then we literally know that just because I was having like a little meltdown and I'm like, it's still within that 24-hour window.
Exactly,
like this is one day. Like that this has all happened. I remember thinking of it after the round and being like, oh my God, within 24 hours, all this has happened.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing is like this round of golf that at least like I played and like we obviously played together was awesome. And we did such a great job. But there, like for me personally, there isn't like one moment that really sticks out more than another. It's not like this one shot made the round or something like that. But like the whole experience, I think really made it memorable and worth mentioning today.
And granted, there were some sick shots. Like you had that wicked long putt that you did mention last episode.
Yeah. Which you got him filmed. Which you filmed some of my putts before, and then it gets like halfway to the hole.
Yeah, but that was like a 30-footer or whatever it was.
Yeah.
That was like for a birdie or a par, but it was
a safe par.
It was wicked.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think we put as much of this on our stories, but I have videos, a bunch of them, of it being like a torrential downpour.
It was a garbage day to be golfing.
Hole 9. I remember being like, "Do we finish this?" And you're like, "Up to you, dude."
I'm like, we could get a rain check.
We could
and
take
they
a
would
rain
just
check.
give us a rain check for
And
the
I'm
back
like-
9. But it's like, when are we gonna go again?
I was like, "We can't.
We don't have time."
Yeah, we got to push through.
Exactly.
I was like, I shot like a.
I'm sure that it'll clear up.
Yeah.
And you know what? It did by like hole 11 or something
and then
like
it was
that.
awesome. Yeah.
And then it was awesome. The course was empty. There was like nobody
Yeah.
in front of us because everybody's like, it's too like bad outside to
brutal.
be. Yeah,
It was
playing.
torrential downpour. Like
It
you
was.
could see the rain in the video. It was that much rain coming down.
It was awful.
But we always play. We always play our best in bad weather. Both of us. Traditionally, like some of these rounds are bad weather rounds that we're both going to mention.
So weird.
And I've always thought it's. And we talked with Kate. Actually, shout out to Kate. Both of our friend, huge Loop supporter. If Kate, you're listening, hi. And she's the pro at Rivershore Golf Course, where we both were members the last few years, and you've worked at now. And I remember telling this to Kate, and she's obviously a lifetime of experience. She's an official CPGA pro, and Kate was like, "Well, yeah, because there's no pressure on those rounds."
Yeah, exactly.
So that just shows with you guys more than the average golfer, when you're out of your own head and you're not having any pressure, your real talent can kind of shine, right?
Yeah.
It's just that's the difference between us and pros. Is pros have to play like that when there is pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Right. Yeah, but it's even like, you know, like I was like listening to the Rick Shields Golf Podcast, which is also awesome and like one of my favorite podcasts.
Can I say, by the way, that this is, if there's a drinking game, I've heard rumblings from a few people that listen to every single episode who will go nameless, but a few different people have said, if every time Kevin says absolutely, then you have to take a drink and everyone will get hammered. I do also feel that a weekly mention somehow you find a way to work in the Rick Shields Golf podcast on almost every episode.
I swear, I don't think I've ever mentioned it on this podcast.
100%.
Oh, I'm gonna listen back, and I will figure out next week if I've actually.
You're gonna go re-listen to all.
I don't think I've actually mentioned that on this podcast.
Definitely have mentioned the Rick Shields.
I think that you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, where it's just like all these conversations are melding together.
We have talked about Rick Shields 1,000 times. Yeah.
God, and now you made me forget what I was gonna say about that.
About the adversity and playing better when it's not. There's no challenge.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna talk about like when you're playing by yourself, right? Then it's the exact same thing as if you're playing in like bad weather, where you don't have to worry about any of those other obstacles, and you're just like focused on your round, right? Like some of my best rounds obviously are like when I'm by myself, I can go at my own pace. I don't have to worry about any of the other players. And then if I get held up by a group, I get held up by a group, or I skip that group, or like whatever it is.
Yeah, it's so true. And I mean, on the surface, you'd laugh and be like, if I was teasing you, right? I'd be like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah. No one knows that 7 really was a 4. Like,
yeah, exactly.
But reality, like I know how you play. And yeah, like if you tell me you shot, oh my God, man, I was on fire. I shot an 85 today by myself. Mm-hmm. I know that you shot an 85 because of that exact reason, because there was no pressure. You played at your pace. If you wanted to let one group go through, or if you wanted to fly through groups, like you could, it's all at your pace. You're not worrying about what anyone else is shooting, good or bad. Yeah, totally. And if anything, I get it, because I feel like I could play better by myself. I don't ever want to. And I've told you this.
Yeah,
and I've said many times, like my biggest fear is I'm going to get a hole in one when I'm playing by myself, because I know I'm going to get a hole in one.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen, and it will. I don't want it to happen when no one's there.
Exactly.
And I remember telling that to my dad, and he's like, what does it matter? Like people will either believe you or won't, period.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not there when you did it regardless. Like one of my shots in this is this a little spoiler as well, was an amazing shot I had. And my dad wasn't there for that. He believes that it happened.
Yeah.
So what's the difference if I'm by myself and got a hole in one, or if I'm with 50,000 people as spectators and it's on television? Like at the end of the day, if the person wasn't there and you're telling the story, they're either believing you or they're not.
Yeah.
But that being said,
course,
it would still suck to get a hole in one and look around and nobody's around you. And you're like, oh my God.
Well, that's the thing too, is like watching it go into the cup, because you've got like pretty good eyesight and you watch the ball pretty closely.
Yeah.
So you would be like that guy who knows that it's in the hole. And then, even if people are in your own group, wouldn't know. Like, I mean, this is literally one of the things that are probably on your list, where it's like, holding out from like 170 yards or whatever it is. And like, I didn't know that it was in the hole, but I'm like, good job, dude. It was a good shot. You're on the green.
Well, and remember when we used to play with Matt, we still play with Matt a ton, but when we first started playing, I remember Matt, you believed me. I remember, but Matt was he's one of my oldest friends, and like a brother. So he was teasing me and he's like, yeah, what a coincidence that Kevin always finds this ball when it goes out of. I'm like, dude, when I'm wearing my glasses, like it's like 3D vision. Like I have good, like I can see and I track the ball well in the air. I think that's part of it. And
of course it is.
Watching it hole out just proves it though.
It's also experience of playing golf. Like Matt didn't really get into golf until I started playing golf,
well
right?
Said.
And then you have still been playing, like even if it's not like consistently, like to get
since
a golf
I was 11.
membership, but you're playing like a few rounds a year.
Yeah, since I was 11, like forever.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we said last week, I think, or the week before, like I was way better than you guys at the start. But you're right. I think that's actually an excellent point, Jay, because now you, compared to even 2 years ago when we first started all playing together, you'll track the ball. And it's not just, by the way, it's, to your point, it's not just seeing the ball in the air, in the flight. It's knowing the apex. It's knowing roughly where that ball is at its apex means that when it went out of bounds, it's probably 20 yards further than everyone else thinks it landed, or it probably went a little bit more to the left because it was hooking. Like that experience really counts,
that
right?
kind of stuff,
and knowing where it's going to go.
Absolutely. Cool. Back to my list. The next one on here is my back-to-back birdies, which is the first time in my entire life that I had birdies on 2 holes in a row. And I went on to win.
It hurts me. I knew this was coming.
We were competitively playing, but I mean, like I went like par, birdie to finish the day, and I finished like 2 strokes better than you, or like one stroke better than you, and you had birdie.
And what did I miss on the last 2 though? I didn't get a birdie because you and Matt both got a birdie in that round. And it would have been the only time we all did it, and I just missed it. I literally lipped out on 17. By the way, this is at Bighorn Golf Course.
Yep.
Used to be called Sun Rivers. It was the first time me, you, and Matt all broke 90.
Yep.
And I lipped out on 17.
All together.
All 3 of us each broke 90. Yeah. And on 18, Remember, I overdrove my second shot, went long, and then I had to chip out a crap. And then I had like it hit the edge of the green, and the green was just, the pin was on the higher part, and it rolled all the way down to the end. And I was like, oh, this is an impossible birdie putt. And I almost got it. And then
you almost hold it,
And then I parred. So I could have went birdie. You went birdie.
I did.
In our year-long competition, you pulled ahead you broke the tie between me and you were tied at that point with three or four or something. Yeah. So you went ahead by 2 now, which was huge at that point of the year, because it was like
of course.
August or something, or July or whatever. And to get the back-to-backs when I was leading by 1 going in, and then I did par, you did birdie, like, oh man, it was so wicked.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Wicked. It was pretty cool. I mean, it's the only time in my golfing career where that's happened, and hopefully it's the first of many, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Next up on my list is the 82, because we both shot an 82 on the same day, August 4th.
Unreal. You got the date too. Yeah. That was a bonkers round.
I had a 40 on the front and then a 42 on the back.
Yeah,
so it wasn't like I was playing like great, but I was playing like so consistently.
Did I do 42-40 then?
I don't know what you did.
I think you missed your par and got a bogey. Is that right? On the last hole, or you missed your birdie and got a par, and I birdied, I think, on the final hole. Because remember, I had that long putt, and I was like, you watch, guaranteed, I'm jinx. I'm gonna get an 83 again, which was my personal best from the checking out round.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm like, there's no way I make this putt. Yeah. And I drained it. Remember, it was a right to left, on 18. And I think you just missed yours. And I was like, oh my God, we both shot 82.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a mental round.
Yeah, that was a great round. Yeah.
It's, what's the craziest part about that round is I don't really have a lot in my Rolodex, and I'm usually really great with these random memories.
You are. You're way better than I am about that kind of stuff.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, shorter stuff. I'm typically pretty
you're
good at that kind of stuff. But
But I can't even pinpoint why they were 82s. Like I know the 82 thing, happened.
Right? It's like it was a 40 on the front, 42 on the back. It was a very consistent round. Obviously the lowest that either of us had ever scored up to that point.
Yeah.
But nothing really stood out. It's just like a steady day of, just golfing and no blow up holes.
That
right? Like that's
for me
is
still
right?
my personal best.
It's my personal best right now as well. But I mean, usually there's at least like 1 or 2 holes where it's like you get like a double bogey or a triple bogey or something like that. And I don't mean you necessarily. I just mean like one of us.
I do that sometimes though.
Yeah. Are you looking it up right now?
I'm looking at the 82. It was actually September 4th.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, you thought it was August. It was September 4th. Yeah, that was a crazy
September
round.
4th.
Jesus.
Oh, you know what? That does make sense though, because after our trip to the island in August was when I started blowing up in golf.
Going mental.
Because then I shot an 86 down on the island when we were there in August. And then the very next round that we played was the back-to-back birdie round. And then I was just like scoring like mid to low 80s.
We both shot 40-42, both of us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we both shot 40-42.
Wow.
I didn't even putt my absolute best. I normally am better, but I had 13 putts on the front, but 15 on the back.
How many Gers though?
Your Gers were bonkers. Hold on. My Gers weren't very many. I had 3.
Gers, by the way, are green and regulation.
Green and regulation. John, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you hit all of your fairways except for 3 of them. You were just dialed in. Yeah. So from you had a double on hole 3. I had a double on hole 1, and then I bogeyed every other hole or better the rest of the round.
That's
which
awesome.
I don't think I made a ball for it because I thought 16 was my record.
What a guy.
What the hell? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we both. That's mental. What a round. You had 4 straight pars at one point. I had par, birdie, par. So 4 straight as well. That's right. I remember when we were at hole 7, we both were like 2 over par or something. And we're like, whoa, remember that? Now I'm starting to remember that round.
Sense.
Remember when we were freaking out? We're like, oh my God, dude, this is crazy. And then we both hit 40 for the front.
Yeah.
We both only bogeyed 9, which we hate. We both bogeyed 8 and 9, by the way, after 7.
Oh my God.
We're like, got in our own heads. But we were only 4 over. And we just were in cruise control.
Sense. Makes a lot of sense.
And we both actually just a final note on this round.
Yeah.
We both actually parred on 18. You had the birdie putt, you missed it, and I made I had it backwards, and I made the long putt I did make that we remember was for par, because I was like, there's no way I'm gonna make this par. Remember,
right,
I'm like, I won't make this.
Yes, that makes sense.
At the minimum, you might miss your birdie because you were putting up. I remember that, and you're like, even if you miss, you're gonna par this, which you did, and I'm like, great, you're gonna get an 82. I'm gonna finish an 83 because I'm definitely gonna bogey this hole.
Yeah,
but I drained the par, and we both got the same score, which was. I think it's so cool that we both have the same personal best round. I think that's so wicked.
That's awesome. I still have that ball.
Good.
Yeah, I kept
as
that
you
ball.
should.
Yeah.
I got my 82 ball for sure as well.
No, that's awesome. That ties into my fourth one, which is my 52% green and regulation day.
There we go.
Which was in October. And I mean, like we said, like green and regulations are, you got to hit the green, and the amount of strokes, if you're going to two putt every single hole, if it's a par 4, it takes 2 strokes to get onto the green. If it's a par 5, it takes you 3 strokes.
Yep.
If it's a par 3, it takes you 1 stroke.
You should be on with your first shot. Yep.
Exactly. So that means over 50% of the time I was there in that amount of strokes or more. My average is about 20%, if that.
Yeah.
Right? Over I don't know, at least the strokes where I was playing really, really well.
It was 10, right? It was 10 green regulations you got.
It was 10.
Yeah. Out of 18 holes, which is bonkers for amateur golfers.
Yeah.
You're not a scratch golfer.
Well, that's the thing. It's it was crazy. The first time that happened, right? Obviously, this year, I'm hoping that I can break that, and maybe I can get over 60%. That would be awesome.
Oh, it was a crazy round, man. It was so cool.
But I think I ended at an 84 and 85 that day. Either way, it was worth noting that because it's on my wall of fame kind of thing. It's on my.
Why don't you explain the wall of fame first?
Yeah,
John?
My wall of fame. We both have one where it's this little shelving unit where we get to put our favorite balls from each round that something notable happened or something cool. Either it could be a course that we played or whatever it is. So actually I've got one that I need to put on there, but I need to find where the ball is when I played in Scotland with my dad.
Oh my God, amazing. Yeah, that's wicked.
Yeah, in 2012.
That is cool. I hope you find that.
I do too.
Yeah, and it doesn't for anyone that ever thinks that's a cool idea, yeah, it's just an actual golf ball display cabinet. But what we do is we actually label the date, kind of a quick summary of what it is, just with a little Sharpie on the actual ball. My dad actually gave us the idea, and he has he made these cool little lanyard, these little steel things, and he has a little label on them, and you can actually write it all on there, and they fit right behind.
Yeah.
Which is super, super cool.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that way we know hey, this is the ball that I hit 326 yards or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Keep that ball. It takes 2 seconds to do. You just swap the ball out. I remember the first few times you were like, yeah, but that's a good ball. It's good luck. I want to keep the ball.
Course,
I'm like,
yeah,
sure, but in 4 holes you might lose it.
Yeah, exactly. No, John, you're going to lose it on the next hole.
Yeah,
you're an 18 handicap. Relax.
And I remember a couple times you didn't, but then I'm pretty sure the first time something cool happened with a shot and you lost the ball, you were like, okay, I'm in. I'm gonna start writing these down right away.
I guess it makes sense.
I get it.
I get it. I'm not actually Tiger Woods.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Tiger can just keep it the whole round and be like, oh, on hole 2, I did this with this ball, but it finished the round with it. No, that's not happening with us.
No,
it just isn't.
No, not at all.
I think I kept a ball because I played all round with it. I'm pretty sure that's one of my balls.
I didn't lose a ball all around.
I didn't lose this.
Oh my God. Oh, that's too funny. The last one on my list here is the Devil Scramble. Yeah, nice. I had to pick that one because it was a team event. It was the second tournament that I ever played, but the first tournament that I entered into, I did it because I wanted to just play it.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It wasn't because I thought that I was going to win. I'm pretty sure I ended up second to last or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Did not play very well. But this tournament, we played it together. It was a team event. Scramble format. There were 3 different formats that we ended up playing. It was best ball, where we pick you both tee off. Oh wait, no. Best ball is you play the hole as individual,
and whoever has the best score.
Whoever has the best score, that's your team score.
Yeah, that was what we started with, and we started on hole 3.
Mm-hmm. So then we did all right. So we were 2 over after the first few holes.
Yeah, after a couple
something
holes,
like that.
Yeah, we weren't doing bad.
No. And then we got into the alternate shot, which the alternate shot, it's pretty self-explanatory. I shoot, and then Kev will shoot, and then I shoot until we finish the hole, right? So if it's par 3, it should only be I shoot, Kev shoots, and then I shoot, and then we go on to the next hole.
Yeah.
That's not quite how it went down. No. I think that we ended up shooting.
We got a 12 on 1 par 5, a 12.
Yeah. It was just a collapse.
Dude.
There was one point where I'm
Oh,
like,
God.
I can't hit this ball because there's water right beside me. So either I have to take a
Why did
stroke.
we not just take a stroke? It was only like the fourth or fifth
or
shot of the hole.
I gotta try and hit right-handed.
So you tried to hit right-handed.
So I
You're
tried
a lefty for the first time ever with my
And it
my
went
wedge.
like a yard.
It went like
ahead.
a yard, and then it embedded even deeper down. And I was like, I can get it out.
Yeah,
And then I
exactly.
just pushed it deeper in, like further,
yeah.
like another foot or two.
Yeah.
And then
Then I'm like,
oh,
all right,
God.
let's just try and get it out of here. So then we did. And it was
man.
just an absolute nightmare. And our playing partners were not very happy with us at that point.
They're like, what is up with these guys?
They're
They were
like,
killing
why
us.
are they playing in a competition?
Oh yeah, they're like just slowing us down.
Yeah.
They're doing so shitty. And we weren't slowing down by moving slow. We were slowing down because we were just taking so many shots that physically we were taking
exactly,
longer.
yeah. And because
we
it's
also-
a tournament, we're like, we want this to, we got to
Yeah.
think this out. We got to do it like proper, like, and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. And
Let's not forget, 2 holes later on hole 10, we also had, I think, a 9 on a par 4.
we did.
So that was 21 strokes over 2
Yep.
2 holes. They were only supposed to be 9
And
strokes.
on hole 9, I think that we got like a,
Triple or
8
something,
or
or an
something
8.
like that.
Yeah, I think it was an 8. Yeah.
So a
So
quadruple
those 3
bogey.
holes, but then I just
Yeah.
missed chipping in for par out of the sand on hole
11.
11.
Yeah.
And then
And then I
then we
tapped it in for bogey.
tap in, and it was like, wait a minute. And then I hit a monster drive on,
And then I got us
12.
up onto the green.
got us up on the green.
And then you putted it, almost birdieing it.
Yeah.
And then you left that close for me to par it.
And we
then
were
that
like,
was
I've-
the last
but
one.
we were
So
stoked. We were like, remember, we were
finished
like,
with the par.
we were like, we've never been more happy to get a par in our lives. I remember
exactly.
saying
I
that
remember saying that
to
on
our
the green.
partners, and we're like,
Yeah.
we were stoked. They're
Yeah.
like, this is gonna be a long day.
Yeah,
And newsflash, we went super nova.
we did. The next 9 holes, we ended up
38 strokes over 9 holes, 2
Yeah.
over par. We
2
were
over par.
60 strokes for we were 24
first-
over
yeah, 9.
for the first 9, and
Yeah.
we were 2 over. That's not with
On
our
the- on the
handicap.
back.
That was without hand. That was just
yeah,
a straight
that was before
gross
net.
score. Yeah, we were, and we would have won the tournament if we played like the back 9, like legit.
Yeah, if we had played like that in the
Yeah,
first,
we paced it out. We looked at the math on
Yeah.
the net score. It was like -5 or no -7 over those 9 was ours. And if we had actually played that way over the
I know.
we would have won the tournament.
I know.
But we ended up finishing last because
Yeah.
we had shot a 98 overall because we shot 60 and
It
then
was-
38. It's insane to think. We
I
were like
know.
birdie, par, birdie,
Yeah.
par, birdie. And
Yeah.
some of those birdies were like eagles on freaking
Oh, yeah.
like with net.
Oh yeah,
And it's like I couldn't like
it was
your approach shots, you literally were throwing darts. You couldn't miss the green. I remember you couldn't miss the green.
no.
And
But
my,
then like
my putts,
your
I
putter
couldn't
was on
miss.
fire. Like I straight up like remember saying that I did not bring like I'm not bringing up my putter.
Oh, that was a cool moment.
I'm just
I don't
like,
even remember what hole
I
that
don't
was.
even need to.
Yeah, it
It
was,
was
like,
like 15.
yeah. I
right?
think it might have
Yeah.
actually been 15. You're like, I didn't bring my. You walked up front with your bag and you
Yeah.
didn't bring your putter up, and you're like, you got this. Like, and I was a couple. I was like, I got this, and like
Yeah,
just
exactly, yeah.
draining putts like
yeah, exactly.
9,
I'm
10,
just
12. We're not
watching from
talking
the
like
cart
2
path.
feeters. Like
Yeah.
I was draining them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were just dialed in.
Yeah.
Dialed in.
Which was nice because I mean that was just like the reassurance that we needed. It's just like, by the way, let's not complete shit.
Oh man, I was like, I hated golf for the first 9 holes, and then I never loved
Yeah.
it more for the last 9, and never hated it more in the first 9.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to hear what you got. Top 5.
All right.
Throw it at me.
So your list was awesome. I have a
Cool.
few actually on the exact same list.
Nice.
So this will speed up the process.
Yeah.
Checking out day
Nice.
is on my list.
Yeah.
We've already discussed it.
We already chatted
There
about
we
that
go.
one.
The next one is the end of the year tournament,
Devil Scramble.
Devil Scramble.
Yeah.
We just went through it.
It was like October 30th when we played it, by the way. It was late October and it was cold.
You're right. Yeah,
It was a
before
cold day for
Halloween.
golf. There's like a post on our Instagram of us just like looking frozen.
Yeah,
Or at least I do.
probably
You
also.
just look cool as always.
Cheers to that.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, so that was those are 2 that we had. The next one would be 2 of them are with my dad. The next one, you know about this. I've never told this story on the podcast, but my dad, if he's listening, Dad, he'll remember this for sure. It was the most confident shot I've ever made in my life. I was playing with my dad and my brother at my dad's local golf course, and I ended up. It's a par 9 course, so you play the 9 twice. So hole 6 was now hole 15, and it was a par 4. Dog legs to the right, there's about 280 yards before it kind of dog legs on an angle is there's like sand at the end of the fairway. And then on the right is like a bunch of trees. So you'd have to go over the trees and to get onto the green, and the green is 320 yards.
Right.
And I was like, my brother joked that he was going to hit this house past the sand like 500 yards away. And I was like, honestly, man, I'd already hit a couple that were almost 300. I had so much pressure on me because it was the first time I played with my dad in a few years, and my dad didn't believe me and you both earlier that same summer when I called him. Yeah, we both called him. We were pretty drunk playing. And we're like, hey, I'm like, Dad, John's here.
And then he's like, did you measure it out with your feet though?
Yeah. And he's asking you, dude, he's John, did you guys pace it out though, John? And you're like, no, I'm telling you, Mr. Roy, he hit 300 yards. We probably 4 or 5 holes this round. And he's
I don't know you,
but I'm telling you,
he did it.
You have to believe me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Dad, John's a witness. He's like, did you pace it out?
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, I need to show this old man that I can hit it 300.
Yeah.
And I was horrible for the front nine. I was hitting them 200 yards. I was topping them. I was getting under them, popping them up. Like, I just wasn't comfortable. And then finally I hit one on like hole 11 or 12 or something. And I put it like 280 just left of the fairway. And it was like, okay, I can do this again. And then I relaxed. So then by that hole, I was like, I'm getting on the green. And they're like, no way. And I'm like, I'm doing it. And I hit one of the best drives of my life, right on pace for the green. My dad's like, you're in the trees. And I'm like, no, man, I made it, I think. We get about 170, 180 yards, middle of the fairway up. And we look, and I'm like, my dad's like, is there a ball on the green? And I'm like, holy shit, that's my ball. And it's right near the flag.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my God. And I have a photo of it still. I've shown it to you, John. It's one of the proudest photos ever. I'm shaking my dad's hand, and the look of pride on his face. I've done a lot of things I think I'm pretty proud of in life. And I don't think my dad's ever looked at me like that though. Like he was just like, holy shit. Like my son just did something I don't know most people can do. Like,
right.
And yeah, I got up to the green. I was about 15 yards away. It was a slight right to left break. I missed the eagle putt, just missed it though. And I literally was like a foot and a half. I was a distance from me to you right now. Yeah. And I just tapped in the birdie. Mm-hmm. My dad still to this day calls it Kevin's hole. He tells everybody like it's right by his trailer. Cool. So his summer trailer. So whenever he goes and plays with random people, he's always like, oh, my son one time hit this right on the green, left it right there. And like, it's a cool story for him more than anything.
Right. Yeah.
So proud of that more than like, I don't know if I'll ever top that. That was cool. Yeah. So there's that one. And then I was kind of tossed up on another one.
That's the point of these top
I know.
They're
tough. They're really, really, really tough. I think favorite, I have to, and this is where the Tiger comes in, was me, my dad, and one of my, Tiger Woods, me, my dad, and Jeff Beauchene, my best bud, one of my lifelong friends as well. I was best man at his wedding. And we went and we played Glen Abbey Golf Course last spring. You know this. Mm-hmm. But for the listeners, we played Glen Abbey. For me, it's like a bucket list kind of course. Pebble Beach is on that bucket list. Augusta, if I could ever somehow play it, and probably St. Andrews. But Glen Abbey's there because in 2000, Tiger Woods hit what I consider the greatest shot in the history of golf. Mm-hmm. And it was on the 18th hole. It was the 72nd hole of the entire tournament. And he was in the sand. He was in the bunker on the right-hand side of the fairway, and it was his second shot, and he hit 220 yards with a 7-iron out of the sand, and he put it within a few feet. He overdrove the green and left it just a chip down and then a par and won the tournament. But he was tied with this guy, Rich Bream, I think his name was, and he was, I believe, tied he was tied with them. And Rich Bream just took the easy kind of go up the fairway, make your par and move on to extra time. And Tiger was like, no, I'm winning this freaking tournament. I'm going for it.
Yeah, just get it over with.
It was the greatest shot I've ever seen. And we went there and ended up playing that hole. And I got to take a shot from the sand. Like I apparently asked the guy, I was like, how many people actually try to replicate Tiger's shot? The guy's like, to this day, every person that plays that hole, if they're not a member and they haven't played it consistently, you watch and you can see it from the clubhouse. You can see the hole perfectly. And he's like, no exaggeration, every new member or every new green feeder, they call them. Everyone that's just casually playing the course, you watch them and they'll, no matter where their shot is, they'll walk over to the sand, drop the ball, and try to get over the water. And he's like, it's just a rite of passage.
How many do it with a 6-iron though?
Nobody does it.
Nobody out of the sand, uphill?
It was a mental shot. Apparently now it's impossible to replicate the shot. He actually said if you hit it from the same angle Tiger would, you actually physically cannot do it because the tree is overgrown enough that it's in the line of sight of it's in the line of the ball now.
Unless you have a crazy curve.
Yeah, in which case you couldn't get the distance with the same club. Like you just, it's impossible. It's literally impossible shot. And not like amazing. Like Tiger couldn't do the same shot again. I don't know if Tiger could do the shot he did again. Like that was peak Tiger at the peak of his powers.
Of course, yeah.
But it was, it was, I got to play that hole. I took some photos of it. I showed like hole 18. They call it the shot.
Yeah.
And there's a plaque about it. So Tiger did make it into my top 5.
I know that story. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So I got to play that course. That was pretty special for me.
Yeah.
And I think you can probably guess my my number 5, my favorite. This is probably my favorite golf moment.
When I beat John by 38.5 strokes.
You got like what an asshole.
It's like, and then you took $100 from me that day.
102. No.
Exactly.
John mentioned it earlier. It's my only eagle, but I chunked my drive about 230 yards to the right into the rough, found my ball. It was in some pretty thick stuff, and it was hole 13 at Rivershore. It's a tough hole. It's actually one of the tougher holes on the course, as you know, working there. For some reason, I'm just really lucky with that hole, or I got some good mojo. I don't know what it is, but there's water to the left. There's really hard bunkers in front of the green. Like, it's
and you
crazy.
can go out of bounds on the right.
Out of bounds on the
So
right.
either
Like,
you're going to go out of bounds or you're going to go into the water.
Or
if you don't hit the fairway.
Yeah, 100%. Right. And you don't want to be just short because you'll be in sand. You don't want to be long because you go back into trees.
Yeah, like that's a hole that's got like the British Open.
British Open, the one we always say, the St. Andrews bunker.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a crazy bunker. We've landed in a couple times and it's suicide. It's the worst.
Yeah.
So anyways, I had an 8 iron, which was still aggressive from 165 yards.
Out of the first cut or something.
Out of the first cut of rough, yeah. And I dropped it onto the green, watched it roll, and I watched it disappear. And I remember, what were their names? The two pros that were
Jin and
yes, Jin.
Travis
and Jin, 100%.
Yeah,
You're right.
Travis isn't a pro, but
yes, but Jin was, yeah,
worked in the shop.
Yeah, and they were great golfers, like great golfers,
Yeah.
Way better than us. And they were practicing on the practice green,
Yeah.
and chipping and putting, and they watched, and I saw them even celebrate, which validated it for me because they were
Right.
like 30 feet away from it, whereas I'm 160 yards, 170 yards, right? And I remember I did a tie. I didn't. It wasn't as amazing as that shot would be, just walking up like you mentioned earlier and grabbing your ball out of the
Yeah,
hole.
of course, yeah.
I knew it went in, and I was like, yeah. I did a
know.
big
You
tiger
did
fist pump.
You did.
And you're like, are you sure it went in? I'm like, it went in. Like, trust me,
exactly.
dude.
Yeah, which is always what you want to hear. Like after like doing a big celebration like that, it's like, but really, did you actually do that?
Are you sure?
Tone her down a notch,
Easy,
buddy.
but I'm like, I didn't care. I was like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's the greatest moment of my life.
It's all right. As like I've like worked there like since that moment. Like I think that was before I ended up working there. That was definitely not like out of place, because that happens almost every single day, right? Not diminishing, not diminishing your thing or anything like that, because I don't see like what's going on the 13th hole like necessarily or anything like that, but like you can hear it from like a mile away.
Yes,
right. Like that's what I'm talking about.
And
like
I confidently, I think
if somebody holes it out.
Yes,
right?
I can confidently say that shot doesn't happen every day. But
no,
yes,
exactly.
But somebody gets either like a hole in one, which happened probably once a day, or at least once every few days.
Like maybe once a week or something.
Yeah,
like
somebody gets a hole in one.
Or the other part of it too is like somebody might just be over dramatically.
Well, that's the thing.
Saying something like that could be us, who's like saying like, man, we are just so happy we made a par today,
dude,
kind of thing.
Well, not
right?
even
But
just
like
that.
somebody might be celebrating that,
or they chipped in from, or they're out. They're 30 yards away, and they chopped it up and they hold it out. That's still exciting. That 160 is like you're a PGA pro, and they get excited about those shots.
I think that's one of the things that makes golf so addicting, right? Is that you can have all these different milestones that like brings you to different places. Like I haven't eagled out from 170 yards. I haven't made an eagle in my life.
Yeah.
Right.
But like, I haven't had back-to-back birdies.
Exactly. Right. There's like different like achievements, different accomplishments. And you're like, man, I still want to do that. Right. Like I was even talking to Alina about this like yesterday or something like that, where it's like, you know, golf is like that sport that you can't perfect. You can't become perfect at golf.
No matter who you are.
That means that you shoot an 18.
Yeah.
And the best like record on like PGA Tour is like a 58.
It's 58. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't shoot an 18.
Yeah. No one's getting a hole on every hole.
No.
So yeah, and I think that's the addiction to the sport as well, is that no matter how bad, and this is why it appeals to us, a competitive nature, you can be horrible, but you're always just one shot away from a memory that makes your list 2 years later, right? Like I know I shot good on that round, but I could have shot a 98. I should have shot 120, but that one shot,
it makes it worthwhile.
You remember it forever.
It makes you want to come back.
Exactly.
That's the
and you're
thing,
always
right?
chasing that excitement and glory, which appeals to guys like us. So apologies if you're not a sports fan and you've just totally tuned out and in your mind you're listening. If you're listening now and you're not a sports fan, you know, I'll give you a little golf clap.
All right.
Golf clap to you because I'm actually very impressed that you even listened this long while we talked about golf. If you are a golf fan, you'll appreciate everything we chatted about.
Send
and that's
us
a cool
your
thing.
golf stuff.
Actually, yeah, wicked. I would love to hear someone else's top 5 golf moments.
DIB at officialloops.com.
Please do. So I think that puts a nice little bow on it, man. Top 5s.
Yeah. Quickly this week,
It was tough
man.
doing that list though, man. I'll tell you this much.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, like what's your week looking like this week?
Well, Doug actually sent me. We've talked about Doug almost every ep, but Doug, our confidant, our mentor,
Savior.
our mentor, our savior. But he's outright like he's mentoring us. And Doug has a few people, a few contacts. He actually wants to pitch our info and pitch our stuff on for possible sales and stuff. So I won't get into more detail on that, but he sent us a pretty cool email, and he's like, "Hey, I need like an actual compact EPK, separate from the website, separate from, we had an EPK before, but it just wasn't going to cut it. So he needs that. So you know that, but I messaged him back. I'm like, I'm on it. So that's going to be a lot of my goal. My mom's here until Thursday morning.
Yeah.
So I'm going to enjoy my time with her as well.
Of course.
But during the day, she's going to want some downtime. Seb's going to be at school. So I'll be pounding that off the next couple of days. That's pretty much going to occupy 99.9% of my time.
Right.
It's just making sure that EPK thing is ready for Doug as quick as possible. So hey, if he's got contacts and he's got people that actually want to either purchase the record or purchase some of the songs or whatever they want to do, he wouldn't be asking for that if it wasn't
Urgent.
it wasn't urgent and wasn't needed. Like we both know that. So
yeah, absolutely.
one thing with Doug, he's awesome. He doesn't waste time and he doesn't mess around with stuff. Like he's got too many pots on the oven, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I know without him saying like, hey, don't mess this up. Like he's like, hey, this is what I'm asking for. Like, and we always deliver. I know that we over exceeded when we made a good album in regards to the actual physical album.
Right.
I know we over delivered when he said, hey, you need a better website. We made an awesome website. So I want to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So truthfully, man, that's going to be my week. That's going to be my main focus.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that too, I mean, like this week, I mean, it's something that I talked about before where, you know, you try and replenish those gigs that you've played. So, I mean, last week we played 2 gigs. I was able to get us 1 gig last week for March and whatever else. But, you know, I would like to catch up on that last week. This week we're playing Barside on Friday. So I want to be able to catch up 1 gig from last week plus 1 gig from this week. So that's like 2 gigs that I want to like be able to book by hopefully the next episode.
Well, and we have a pretty busy March, but a lot of it's clustered. Like we got 3 gigs in one weekend over St. Patty's Day weekend, which we're excited about. But yeah, we're going to have, and they're actually in 3 different towns, 3 different areas.
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
To your point, I think there's a couple little windows we can even book urgently coming up, if not in the next little while.
Well, and then that's the thing too, right? Is like, even though, you know, booking is one thing, obviously, but I mean, like when I'm talking about booking, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm booking, you know, 1 gig for the next 4 weeks or something like that. I could be booking something for like August or like something for like July or something for a tour.
100%.
Right? So all that kind of stuff needs to be done as much as possible. So that's going to be the main focus when I'm obviously not working and whatever else. So I'm glad that I've been able to put some time aside this week coming up for that. And that's kind of what the week's looking like.
Perfect.
To everybody who tuned in this week, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Rate us on Spotify.
Please rate us on Spotify. Shoot us a follow.
Apple Podcasts.
And make sure, again, I'll say it again, but go shoot those people a follow that we mentioned. The venues as well, you know, like Satter. And if you haven't done it yet, go download and listen to the album. It's out there. The more streams, the better. It just makes life easier for us, especially when things like Doug's, you know, shooting our name out to other people. And when we're promoting ourselves and getting our name out there, it's nice to show some numbers behind on the content we're making. So thank you so much, everybody. Anything else you want to say, buddy?
Thanks for listening, everyone.
All right. Till next time, keep on keeping on, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
Have a good week.